Okay, here we go. I'm recording just in case so they can listen at their own leisure. But you guys, I have a couple things planned, and then really I do want to open it up to kind of I am on the right day, right? I showed up at the right time. I'm just making sure because it's like 16. Okay. But anyway, I do have a few points planned, and then I really do want to hear what you guys want to hear about, want to talk about. And I saw some people asking about positioning of family members and stuff like that. So when it comes to maximizing the comp plan, I do want to focus on that. And that was something I was telling my PS coaches on Friday, is that my job, until you tell me to stop, my job is to be your business mentor first and foremost. Does that make sense? Like, of course, if you're going to really mentor someone, you have to love them. You have to, the friendship, yes, sometimes the lines blur, but there has to be a trust, it has to be there. But first and foremost, my job is to mentor you in a business way on these webinars. And so I want to make sure that we're focusing on that. But I'm going to ask you guys to do something that I was doing with another group that I was ramping up with. I want to ask you guys 2 words. That, you see, Jeff Hill made me do this. I was on the way to my first Success Club trip that I had won, and he had asked us, well, maybe I shouldn't let you have 4 words, because he let me have 4 words. 4 words that kind of describe why this is important to you. Not like a sentence, but like words that can, like, right away can grasp your attention, can make you want to fight. Does that make sense? And so if we have these words, right, and then what you surround yourself by matters, and so having these words up to remind yourself what you're fighting for. And all that matters is that it's important to you. I was talking on like a Super Saturday, like with Logan and Haley's team on Saturday morning, and I was explaining to them, and I want to reiterate to you guys as you build your team, that the only thing that is important is that it is important to your coach. Does that make sense? You might not agree with the fact that they want to buy 12 Gucci purses. I don't even know. Is Gucci still popular, you guys? Still, that's not my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might want to buy a new purse every month. And you might be going like, do you know how many people are starving in Nicaragua? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Give them time. You know what I mean? And they might build a house or 2 in Nicaragua while they still enjoy their purses. Do you see what I'm saying? So we have to meet people where they're at. Okay? And we can't tell them what to value. We have to ask them what they value and then serve them in that. Okay? And so I want you guys to think about that. What are 4 words that kind of like for me, one was freedom. And that meant so many things to me. But mostly, like, you got to think, as a military wife, we were always told where to live, we were told when we could vacation, and then that wasn't always guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like, we were told if Chad was going to be able to be there for the birth or not. Everything was controlled. So while everybody else was free, we were not, in my opinion, in that sense. Okay. So freedom, heart was another one for me, because every time I thought, like, my heart had to be involved in the business. You know what I mean? So I had these words. Legacy was another one that has now turned to tracks. Like, I want to leave tracks. I want to leave, like, not the kind that after I died, like, disappear. They're washed up by the ocean, not those kind of tracks, but the kind of tracks that are like there. Like, you go back years and years later and they're still talking about what their great grandmother taught them that leaked their way down through. Do you guys see what I'm saying? I want to leave tracks that is generational. Okay, so, but it doesn't, whatever is important to you, you have to know what and why, and you have to have it surrounded, and it can't be like, as long as it's in the next month. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to duplicate a team of people that have deadlines. Do you understand? Like that. You duplicate yourself. You guys write that down right now. Whatever you are doing right now is duplicating. So you have to ask yourself, do you want that duplicated? I know 7 years ago, the summer that was started to duplicate needed to change. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we got to get real with ourselves. I mean, look, we are down to 36 people live, and there are multiple 6-figure earners on this team sewing into us, showing up. You see what I'm saying? That's crazy to me. And it's probably because it only costs $25 instead of $25,000 or $2,500. So But what makes you show up is that it's important to you, right? That it's deeply important to you, because you have to want to show up when, like I put a post, like when your eyes are heavy, when you're tired, you know what I mean? When everybody's telling you no, when you've been Success Club 5, 11, months in a row, and number 12, you miss it. You still show up on number 13. You know what I mean? Like, you have to still be here when your husband's not being very nice to you, or your kids are being a little crazy. Things aren't quite going your way, and they're starting to come in. When you are deeply rooted in purpose, I mean, when you truly believe, like when that is taking root in your heart, that this is a purpose, you show up no matter what. You do. There ain't nothing that can knock you down. Nothing that can knock. When it is truly, when that, Kristen, when that is deeply rooted in your heart, there's nothing that'll stop you from showing up to build your business. Okay, so they just have to be important to you, but you have to encourage your team to find those words and to think, and then to get themselves surrounded by that, because what you focus on is what you get more of. Okay, and so I talked about, so that was number one. Number two is what do you believe? I mean, we talk about this a lot in the new coach training, and then I think sometimes we forget and we forget to come back to it. But what do you, because whatever you believe is what you'll create, right? Whatever you believe. If you believe that your marriage is a waste of time, you'll treat it like it's a waste of time. If you haven't signed the divorce papers, but you already believe it's over, you might as well go sign the divorce papers. Stop dragging it out. Because whatever you believe, you will create the actions that create that. So if you think that, let me just give you an example, that like leaders are always hard on you, you will create a posture that causes leaders to be hard on you. Does that make sense? Or leaders to push back from you, or leaders to put up walls from you. Do you see? If you think leaders always screw you or something like that, you will create actions in your life that cause leaders to screw you. Does that make sense? And so whatever you believe, you have to be very, very conscious of what's going through your mind, right? Because whether you realize it or not, what you believe is what's coming out in your actions, verbal and nonverbal. Right? And 93% of all communication is nonverbal. You don't even know it. You don't even know you're acting that way. But if every day you wake up and you speak life over yourself, your family, your business, your marriage, your kids, your team, your challengers, instead of being like, damn it, why don't they ever show up? I always attract the wrong people. Everybody come out of anybody's mouth? Come on, let's all own that one real quick. Because I know it. I've gotten some messages like, how do I start attracting the right people? I'm like, we're going to talk about that in a second. In just a second, we're going to talk about that. But seriously, what you believe. So you have to control that. And it took, my business was like this and then started to go like that. Why? Because I had to work on this for so long. I had to work on what Summer believed about herself. I just did a post about that. If you go on my Facebook page, you'll see a before, Summer at 19, and an after, 35. Can you pull that up real quick? Sure. And it's not just, it's the picture is stark difference. Like most people are like, oh, 20 was my best year. No, 40 is going to be. But I mean, can you guys see it? I don't know if I'm holding, okay. You might have to go on my Facebook to kind of see it. The lighting is weird, but the person, what was between the ears of the person on the left was not someone of self-worth. There was, when that girl started the business 10 years later, at like 28, 29, she didn't believe she could build anything. She didn't believe it. You know what I mean? And so she had to work on herself first, right? And so when you're building a business of any sort, don't get discouraged if it's taking a little bit of time. I use Kessa as a perfect example. The text that her and I have been sharing, the things, and she can share this story, a little later or something, but the text, and it wouldn't, that's like for stage one day. But do you know what I mean? Like the things like, how long have we been together, Kessa? 4 years? 5 years, okay? And the things that she has had to work through up here and in relationship with people had to happen first. And you can't put a price tag on it ever, right? You can't ever put a price tag on it. She said, if I never make another dime with this business, it doesn't matter. Can you imagine if you got to that place in your life where what you were working on, what was happening in your life, you didn't care if another zero ended up on the end of your paycheck? Talk about a peaceful freaking place to be. You know what I'm saying? But that's because of all the work that happens up here. I'm not saying that we're not, I started this out telling you guys, my job is to help you build a business. But a purpose-driven business is built in between the ears first. So what you believe about yourself, what are you focusing on? These are the things that you have to every single day intentionally practice on. And you know, what do you believe about your spouse? What do you believe about your social media? I mean, I'll tell you what I believe about my social media community. They aren't prospects. They're not fresh meat, although I do like that book. But they're not fresh meat to me. That's just the difference in personalities, perhaps. But they're not fresh meat. They're people that I have been trusted with to have influence over. That might sound silly for social media, right? It's just Facebook. But everybody has their face buried there. And if I can have positive influence, and that I believe, so what I believe is that nothing happens by chance, right? No, Mikessa and I did not happen to be in the town that we were in at a certain time in her life and show up at a boot camp with me, and that her son was going to school with the girl that was in squadron. Her husband was in a squadron with Chad. There's just too many things that would have to line up in our lives. I don't believe it's by chance. Same thing with how Mary Howard, if any of you guys follow her and I follow, you guys follow her. It is not by chance that I was in Texas at that time in the most weird way that I was drawn to this, to have a cup of coffee with her. She was someone else's client. And for 6 of those 8 months, she was not my client. I was just coaching her because I believed that she ended up in my life for a reason. And if I could serve her, that's my purpose. You see what I'm saying? And so what you believe, your actions will follow it. Okay. So what do you believe that your social media, because if you don't believe that about your social media, if you believe social media is just social media, if you believe that your Facebook page is just some free Facebook page, you will treat it like it's free. I'll never forget when Janelle Summers told me, Summer, you treat that like you invested $200,000 in it. That changes your perspective on social media in a heartbeat. If you had to invest $200,000 into your social media, you would not rant and rave. And I'm not saying any of you guys are, but you wouldn't. You wouldn't rant and rave. You wouldn't throw up just some picture. You would take some time to make sure the background behind you, I'm not saying it should be picture perfect or fake, right? But it shouldn't be none of our houses should be a SHIT show. I'm just because that's another prosper where you're planted thing, right? But we would look behind us and say, okay, this is my storefront, right? This is my storefront, and I need to care what's on my storefront. I need to take special care of the words that come out of my mouth, the influence that I have over the people that are going to read this. How can I add value to them today through the struggles or the scars that I've had in the past, right? But that only comes, you only go there when you have a belief system around your social media as these people you are entrusted, that there are people tied specifically to you, your scars, your story, what you've been through. They're your mission, your vision, and your business. When you start to internalize that, you look at social media very different. You're not scared to go live anymore. We might still be scared, but you do it anyway. You know what I mean? Imagine if you had invested $200,000 in your social media, and you knew, because this is a fact, that if you go live, more people will see your newsfeed. If you go live a few times a week, 2 times a week, let's just say, it'll boost your affinity. More people, the people you've been entrusted with, will see more of your posts, and you spent $200,000. Might you go live even though you're scared to death? Absolutely. But it comes down to what you believe. It's just kind of like this thing, the sidekick, and they're all kind of annoying anyway, and you're kind of looking for a different groove anyway. Do you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? And it's free, and it's just this thing, and I don't even like my team. They're not even really doing what they're supposed to be doing. We're going to talk about that in a second. But when those thoughts are going through your head, you don't value. You're not willing to put uncomfortable pictures. It is uncomfortable for me to look at that picture of Summer Tucker on the left because I know who she was. And I know how she felt. I know where her self-worth was. I know where that relationship was with the man standing next to her. It's uncomfortable. It brings tears to my eyes when I pulled it up for the first time. I want to leave that behind. But if I'm going to have influence, if those scars are going to mean anything, I have to share it. Right? And so I spoke a little bit this weekend at a couple different Super Saturdays about the importance of being vulnerable. And this ties back to what you believe. If you believe this is a purpose-driven business, that this is something bigger than yourself, that it's not about your rank necessarily, but you'll notice as your rank goes up and your influence increases. Okay, so it gets tied in, but it can't be, I want to increase my rank, period. It's like, okay, why do you want to increase your rank? Because I want to increase my influence. Because I have been trusted, because this is a purpose-driven business, because I'm here for the long haul, because damn it, I'm going to make a difference, and I'm going to use my scars for something good. When you get there, people feel it. You remember? 93% nonverbal. People feel this right here. People, how many of you guys went to a Super Saturday? How many of y'all walked in with your shoulders back, with a smile on your face, so that people could feel the heart and purpose flowing from you? Or how many of you guys are still like this? A little bit. You know what I mean? Like, can't really look people in the eyes maybe, because you're not maybe at the rank you want to be at, right? It's not about where you're at now. It's about where you're going. Right? And so I could feel that. Like, when I went to a Super Saturday in Columbus, I could feel it from people, right? But when I walked in, you couldn't tell that I'm going to be honest, I don't know how many people's husbands, but I felt like my nipples were going to fall off at Super Saturday. I'm going to be honest. Like, that was so sore. My chest was pounding because I had to go off my pain meds to get there because I was driving. And I take that seriously. And I felt like someone had went like this and ripped my breast out. That's what it felt like. Kelly, could you tell? No. Yeah, we all, like, I talked to them about this. We all have crap. We do. We all are going through crap. All of us. I bet if we all threw our crap in, wrote it on a piece of paper, what we were going through, and you picked up somebody else's, you'd be like, give me my crap back. I don't want your crap. If some of you guys picked up Aaron Booker's crap, you'd be like, take your crap. Take Aaron, you take yours back, give me my back, and give it back. You see what I'm saying? Like, we all have crap. Right? But it's what we believe about what we're doing with our crap, our scars, what we've been through, where we're going, the purpose behind that is what flows from our heart. That's what flows from our heart. And that is what is essential to building this business, because you can hide behind this computer and we can fake it here. But when you walk into a Super Saturday, when you walk into an event at Summit, you can't fake it no more, because people can feel your heart from 10 feet away. Did you guys know that? From 10 feet away. That's why when Chad sometimes walks in the morning when he was in the military, from 10, I could like suck it out. You know, the energy vampire. I'm not trying to bag on you, babe, but you know what I'm saying? Like, because we can feel that. He didn't even have to say anything. So what you believe, that's why this is what is so valuable. What you do up here, what you repeat every single day, what you're listening to every single day is so important, and it's not going to happen overnight, but that has to be a focus as to what you believe. Okay? And so if there's somewhere that you're struggling, if there's something that you believe that this isn't right, like I'm not worthy, you have to counter it with an affirmation. I am worthy. And you have to repeat it over, like for years. I'm not talking about for 2 more months. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about until Summit. I'm talking about this is a thing that you have to do forever, right? Forever, over and over and over. You think I still don't sometimes look in the mirror and see the girl that I posted that's on the left? Absolutely. And do you think that I still sometimes grab my waist for a chubby check? Yes, I do. But I catch myself. You are worthy. You see what I'm saying? That is a lifetime thing. Sometimes it's the thorn in our side, and it's there to remind us where we flipping came from. So let's talk about that. This next part is, who are you looking for? Do you know who you're looking for on your team? Do you know who you're looking for in your challenge groups? I hear this so much, and I'm going to go against my mentor. And I'm going to go against it. Let's just get it out there because I don't agree with it. Okay. I don't agree that we're looking for the doers. I don't. I hear that from people. I'm looking for the doers. I'm looking for the ones that have no excuses. The people have thrown all their excuses out that are self-starters, self-motivated, just going to do it. Some of you guys are, no, that's what I'm looking for. No, that's what I'm looking for, right? Why? Were you that when you first started? Hell, I wasn't. Why? Why? You see what I'm saying? Like, really? Is that what a purpose-driven business is about? Is it about to find the people that we don't really have to mentor, the people we don't really have to have patience for, the people we really don't have to lead, do any growth to have to deal with, but just pad our bank account because they start creating volume for us? That's who we're looking for? I mean, think about that. How asinine is that? Some of us are praying for that, and he's like, sorry, suckers. Nope. Until you learn that where you came from, to look back and see where I brought you and who you are called to bring back with you, you can sit right there, right where you're sitting. For real. I do not agree with that in the slightest. I do feel that we have to lead by example, that we should be the doer. If people are going to believe, like Maxwell says, to be a belief maker, you have to lead by example. And so, yeah, we do have to be the doer. We do have to self-motivate sometimes. When no one's around, when no one's shouting our name, when no one's answering our message, we do have to find a way on our own to find the answer. But our whole purpose can't be to look for the people that we are now. Do you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine if I expected my coaches to come in as the summer now? That'd be crazy. And thank God that's not what my coach prejudged on. Thank God she didn't look at me and go, well, she's a personal trainer that can't get her together, right? She's a personal trainer, can't get it together, can't lose her second baby weight like a personal trainer should. And why isn't her personal training business taking off? What's up with that? You know what I mean? Thank God she didn't prejudge me before she allowed me to be on her team, or to invite me, or to be someone she was looking for. Thank God she said, that girl has a need. My job is to fill it. What Summer does with it was Summer's job, not Renee's job, right? It was not Renee's job to motivate me, but it was not Renee's job to decide whether I was qualified. Because I'll tell you what, he already qualified every single one of us. He called you here. Now. See what I'm saying? And he's qualifying you as you grow. As you grow to the next leadership, as you qualify, you go to the next leadership. As you learn some more lessons and growth, you go to the next level, and you go to the next level. That's how it works. Yeah, sometimes you'll get somebody that some of you guys like, but Casey came in right away and bam, nailed it. Bull crap. She watched me for 5 years. She watched me for 5 years, so she didn't come right. If she would have came in 5 years ago and nailed it, but a different story. But it took her 5 years to work on her belief system, that it worked, that it was worth her time, and that she wanted to be a part of something like this. 5 years. Some of your coaches are going to sit for 5 years and not do much while their belief system grows. It is not your job to write them off. That is the one thing I can't stand when people start to say who they're looking for. Because I think we're missing an opportunity to truly create a purpose-driven business. One that you can't even put a price tag on. And when you switch this focus, the zeros do start to add up. Because he'll start to put people in your path that he knows that you will take care of. And that is the truth. So the last piece before I hand it off to somebody else, I don't see them on here, but there's more pages. So you need to do a little self-evaluating, because the only person that you can't lead anyone until you lead yourself first. Okay, so, I wrote this quote down. If there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do no harm. Right? So you have to tackle the enemy within first. Okay? And that goes back to where we started, between the ears. What's coming out of our mouth in every area of our life. Not that we won't have disagreements. I don't agree with that either. You know, you have to communicate with your husband, and sometimes you're not going to see eye to eye, and there needs to be a safe space for you to be like, no, I don't completely agree with that. You need to be able to have a disagreement with your spouse without it blowing up into a fight. You need to be able to have, not see eye to eye, maybe with your upline or one of your coaches, without it being like a deal breaker. We have to be able to communicate, right? But that starts within. That starts between here, right? It starts in all areas of life, with your spouse, with yourself. What are you speaking about yourself each day? What are you speaking over your kids each day? What are you speaking when you sit down to work? Is it I get to do this or I have to do this? That's going to come out. Every word, is it I got to get on the operation duplication damn web. I'm back. I just didn't know if anybody needed to go to the restroom or something like that. Needed a break from me for a second. I don't even remember what I was saying, because of course I was like, bleep. When it went out, I was like, shh, bleep. Anyway, okay, so, okay, I know what I was saying. What do you feel about your business, about your team? Is it like, I have to go to a Super Saturday, or I get to go to a Super? You know what? When I first started it, I would have given anything to have a Super Saturday to go sew in. Next to and do things. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you believe is going to come out in your actions. And I'm just not so sure how, like, I can feel at the Super Saturday I was at that I'm not so sure everybody wanted to be there, or what they were thinking about their business was positive. And we have to control that, because it ripple effects in every area of our life. Okay, so a little self-evaluation. How are you doing with your own self-speak? And if from a scale of 1 to 10, you know what I mean? And if it's below a 7, what are you doing? What's your solution? Can y'all hear me? Kessa, can you hear me? I feel like you're smiling about something, but I don't know if it's because like I look like crap, because I look like I just got out of bed, because I hurt, or what. You see what I'm saying? Yes, we hear you. Okay. Okay. It's because I look like hell. Is that why you're laughing at me, Kessa? Okay. Anyway, yourself. Okay. How are you doing with your spouse? I'm going to go here. I am. And some people don't like it when I go here, but it's all prosper, you're planted, faith with the little things. They're all tied in. Okay. And I'm not saying that you can control what your spouse does any more than that you can control what your team does, but you can control you. You can control, and I was talking about this at the Super Saturday, you can control what value you take out of it, and what you then share. Take that experience, you fix it, and then share it. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying, like, say you have a really bad morning with your spouse, okay? Now, you don't go on Facebook after he leaves and you rant about your spouse. That'll go really bad. I'll just promise you that. And don't try to do something where he has to read between the lines either. That doesn't end well either. But if you had a really bad morning, right, you think to yourself, okay, this morning went really bad. What is my piece in it? Okay, well, what could have I done differently? You could have not hit snooze 5 freaking times. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really could admit that. Like, I could not hit snooze. I could have packed the kids' lunches the night before. I could have wrote him a note. I could have greeted him with a kiss. I could have rolled over and touched him first before my phone. I could have touched his butt while we were brushing teeth. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things you could have done different in that morning so that it didn't go that way. Right? A lot of things under your control. Right? When he leaves, now that it's over, right, and you had the blow up, you are still in control of the but now button from there. How do you handle your frustration? Did you bury yourself in cupcakes in your refrigerator? Or did you go for a run? Or did you send him a sexy text? Do you see what I'm saying? Or did you send him an I'm sorry for my part in it? Some of us don't like to admit, like, no, it was his fault. No, it takes 2 to fight. So unless you straight walked away, unless he started fighting with you first, and you straight said, babe, I don't want to go here because I love you and I love our relationship too much. I don't want to fight, and I love you right where you're at, and whatever you need from me today, you just let me know. Unless you did that, you had a piece in it. So what was it? Own it in a text. Babe, I'm so sorry for my part in that. What can I do today to make up for it? What can I do today to make your life easier? What can I do today to make you feel loved again? You guys didn't know you're coming from marriage talk, did you? But it translates to our business. It translates to our business. All of it does. So go through, self-evaluate the priorities in your life, self-evaluate your leadership. You know, what can you do differently? If no one's following you, you're going for a walk. You're the common denominator. You see what I'm saying? You're the only common denominator in all of your problems. That is a hard pill for me to swallow 5 years ago. Like, damn. You know what I mean? That's true. It's not everybody else's fault. Do you know what I mean? They're all mad. Like, that's mine. You know what I mean? Like, what's my part? What can I do differently? And then come up with some action steps to do it. Maybe you're going to have to decide for yourself, but maybe it has to do with your action steps are asking for forgiveness for people. Maybe you pieced out for a month. Maybe you were harsh at one time because you were going through a hard time in your life. And they only knew 10% of the story, but you still weren't kind, right? So going and saying, you know what? I was going through a hard time in my life, but that does not matter. Will you please forgive me for piecing out for a month, for not being consistent, for leaving my post as a leader, for not being the shepherd over my flock I was supposed to be? Do you see what I'm saying? Go back and own it. That's going to be the first step to mending some of the relationships, some of the, and bringing healing for your heart and leadership, because here's the deal. You're here for a reason. I told you to come back to this. What do you believe? I know what I believe about you. I know what I believe about where you're going and who you've been entrusted with and the scars that you have that are going to be used for good, but you have to believe it. And once you do, leaving isn't an option. Abandoning, it's like when I hear people getting to a place and like, I'm going to give it to here, and I'm like, so you're telling me that you're going to abandon your leadership's position if it doesn't benefit you enough? Is that what you're telling me? Expect it to stop then. Because communication is 93% nonverbal, and people can feel your heart. That makes sense? All right, Carrie, you're up, girlfriend. What do you think?
I'm enjoying these Sundays calls because for some reason they just keep lining up with exactly like what my thought process has been or what I'm going through at the time. And so this has been great. Our team is doing an Emerald in a Day training tomorrow. And these are some of the topics that we're talking about. And we're talking about, the belief in the power of believing, and you create what you focus on, and that emerald is just a decision, and decide who you want alongside you, that kind of stuff. So I love that part of how things keep lining up. But I also wanted to mention when you said, how people walk into Super Saturday differently. And I really related to that because what I was thinking of was not so much Super Saturday, but my first summit that I went to. And just feeling like I was a fraud and I shouldn't be there. And like I was wearing this Beachbody coach hat. But I was just a mom that retired or was retiring from middle school math teaching. Like I wasn't a health and wellness coach. I was just sharing my journey with friends and family, and they were doing the same things alongside me, so I had this skewed thing of what a coach was. And if I'll be really honest, it was jealousy. It was jealousy of looking at these other coaches that I had watched videos of and that I had followed on social media and that were just doing what I thought was everything right. And it wasn't until a little while after, like maybe that year end, so a year and a half into coaching, that I realized that it was my mindset and that jealousy didn't have to be something that was negative. And I know that might sound weird at first, but jealousy just turned into more of like an arrow for me. It pointed me in the direction of where I wanted to go. So it was more of like a sign. So like when I felt that lump in my throat of not being worthy of the people I was around, or nervous to talk to so-and-so because I held them on this pedestal. I used that to say, hey, wait a minute, what are they doing differently than me that I admire, that makes me feel this lump in my throat? And how can I change that about myself? And how can I use that to work on myself instead of letting it destroy me? How can I use that to build me up? And so like I found myself walking around, you know, our next Super Saturday, a little bit taller, a little bit prouder. I felt more confident at leadership as a guest my first year than I did at Summit, where I was surrounded by other coaches of coach rank. It was crazy. And it all started with, you know, just thinking about that we're human and that they're probably feeling the same things I am, and that we all have dreams, and what success looks for me isn't belittled by what success looks like for someone else. I had more peace of mind. I had better health and wellness, and just it just changed for me in that moment where I started believing in what I was becoming, if that makes sense. So I think it goes along with what you were saying earlier, like what you focus on, you become, and it ties back to what we're going to be doing tomorrow on our team page with just a simple emerald in a day. Like if they decide they want to be emerald, they'll be emerald on Thursday. You know what I mean? So that's what I have to share.
That's true. I wrote that it is a decision. I love that you just said that because I just posted that somewhere. Hold on. I want to find it because I don't want to mess it up or whatever. But I said that, you know, I told them that the only, what we can promise, okay, what myself, Courtney, you know, Carrie and Megan and Kimberly, the people that are leading you in here and helping, and I can promise you that we will show up. I can totally promise you that I'm not going anywhere. That 7 years from now, I'll still be sitting here I'm not going anywhere. I will still be here in a month, hitting Success Club, reaching out to new people, working my social media. Who can I have influence of? How can I add value? I can promise you I will show up every single day. And I can promise you that they will too, that we will throw out our excuses. I can't promise you we won't have fears because I think that's natural, but I can promise you that we'll step into them and through them and beyond them. The only question is whether you guys have made that decision. You know what I mean? I think that's something you have to evaluate yourself. It really is a decision. Like Emerald is really a decision. And if we believe that, our coaches are going to believe that. I honestly think, and I was telling someone, hold on a second, a coach of mine that said her goal was diamond by, I forget the date, Christmas. And I was like, really? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, really? Like, can we take diamond off the pedestal for a second? You know what I mean? Like, it really doesn't take that long to get there unless we talk ourselves into that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you give yourself a whole year to hit diamond. Why? Like, you know what I mean? But that's what we believe. We believe that emerald is hard. It has trickled down so far that people think emerald is hard or not necessary or comes in time, when emerald's a decision and diamond is not that far off if you're doing what you're supposed to do. And if that's your belief, it will trickle down into your team. And I told her that. I was like, oh no, I'm pretty sure you got about 6 weeks to do that. This is what I told her. You know what I mean? Because that, you know, she's already been coaching for a while. Why are we going all the way to Christmas? You know, and you have to help people with that. Why? I asked her why. Why all the way till Christmas? You know what I mean? And then she had to share it with me. We had to talk through it. So it really is a decision as to whether you're still going to be here next year and where you're going to be at in your personal growth with your business. You know what I mean? It is all a decision. And some I'm not so sure you're still going to be here. I'm not sure how many people ended up coming. 41? That's not bad. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Kimberly, do you have anything to say? I don't know if Courtney's on here. I couldn't find her.
Yeah, I probably learned more than had anything to add to anything, but I took pages and pages of notes. I loved everything that you guys had to share, and about, I totally agree with what you said, Carrie, about the jealousy not being necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's not. Like, it's not jealousy is such an ugly word, I feel like, but sometimes it does drive you to learn from other people and just take yourself to that next level. So I think it's just finding where I think we're all lacking in different ways, and that, not to like put that on someone like you're lacking in this or you're lacking in that. Like, you challenge people by saying like, how's your marriage going, or how's your forgiveness going, or how's this going? And that might not, I have a great marriage. I have not always, just to put that out there, but my marriage is fabulous right now. And I pray every day it will stay that way. I would be crazy to think that we won't go through more and more challenges the longer we're together. But we all go through those obstacles. And so right now I was just chatting on the chat with Kelly Brown, and I'm listening to all this, and we chat a lot, and I'm like, I don't know what's missing. And I feel like maybe someone else here will relate to that. Like, you listen to all this and you're like, I'm doing that, and my marriage is good, and my forgiveness is good, and my social media is good, and my belief is spot on. Like, what is missing? And we all have something. So she was challenging me. She's like, well, like, what is really struggling with you? And for me, myself, it's constantly my own journey. And this might be someone else on the call. Like, it's constantly my own nutrition, and it's my own physical fitness, and it's my own, we're freaking coaches. So if you struggle with that, like, I get you. And that doesn't mean you can't build this business, but that's my struggle. My struggle is being accountable to others when I'm not always accountable to myself. And that's my biggest obstacle, is myself sometimes, and just being spot on with that nutrition, and like getting on and talking to my challengers every Sunday about like being accountable for the week, and like, let's evaluate our week. What went wrong? What could go better? And I do this with coaching too. Like, what went wrong? What could go better? And our plan for the week, our plan for Monday, our plan as coaches, our plan as challengers, all those sorts of things. Because if we don't have that, if you're not constantly evaluating yourself every Sunday, and you're not constantly having a plan for the next week, I just feel like you're at a dead end constantly. So I'm always doing that, but sometimes I feel like I do hit that wall, and that's okay. Like, that's okay. You can still build a successful business growing yourself. Like, you can still grow a successful business working through, if you have marriage issues, if you have trouble with your nutrition, if you have trouble completing a program, if you have family problems, if you have problems believing in yourself, if you struggle with social media, like all of these things that we are called to do, you can work through them, and that's okay. Because I guarantee you, out of the 40 people on this call, or the 100 people in the group, someone is going through what you're going through. And it's just a matter of connecting with those people and harnessing that jealousy into a good word, where it's like, I just want to have what these women have. Like, I just want to be on track with my nutrition, or on track with my workout program, or whatever it is. But if you want to be on track with your belief system, like, that's what I offer people. Like, when I start to talk about like, what can I give people? I can teach people how to build a business. I can teach people how to believe in themselves. And you all have that special quality of something that you can give to someone on your team. You just have to start giving and giving and giving more of it. Whatever it is, we all have a gift that we can give someone. I think you just have to tap into that. And a lot of trainings I've done, they call it like your genius zone. And I have trouble with that, because I'm like, I don't think I'm a genius at anything. But the more I tap into it, I'm like, I know how to help people build businesses. I know how to help people believe in themselves.
Yeah.
I just am not really good with meal plans.
No, here's the thing. I want to tell you. I think we all are struggling in somewhere in our life, and if you don't think you are, I think you're deceived. I'm gonna be
Absolutely.
honest. Because if you're not, if they're like that is, there's like, you're always there's always going to be struggle. You're on earth, you know what I mean, and that's natural, right? So if you don't, like, you're deceived. Like, it's gonna slap you in the back of your head. So you're like, damn, she was right. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not even gonna see it coming. you know, but, you know, we all have our struggles in different areas, like Kimberly said, but what Kimberly could do is flip, and she truly believes she can help people build business. So how well do you think she does a coach invite? Like, damn, these people are blessed to be in my mentorship, and I'm going to teach them how to do it. When you believe that, you go in posturing yourself very differently. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I bet Megan E. Walton can rock fitness, man. So I bet when she's helping someone with their fitness or their meal plan, she believes that I can help you. Do you know what I mean? So what is it that you believe? And some of you guys like, I don't know what I believe. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I'm still working on me. But this is how you build your belief. I just thought about this while you were talking, because something that's changed in Kimberly, like, you know, you keep saying you're stuck, and you and I have texted about that, and I said, like, you got to take your glasses are all foggy or distorted or something, and take those damn glasses off and put on the ones that I wear when I look at you, right? But what has changed, like, in Kimberly is belief. Over the last, I don't know, how long ago was that Danny event, and was that DC where we had that crazy microwave and they got all mad at us?
Yeah.
I mean, how long ago was
sucker.
that? Like a year? Small victory. Okay, so if you're like, how do you change belief? Because that's what happened with Kimberly. How do you change your belief? Small victories. You have to put yourself in places to have small victories. So if Kimberly's going to change in her fitness, she has to create small victories for herself in fitness. You know what I mean? If you're going to change in your marriage, if that's a struggle, you have to create small. If you're like, if you need to get to that place where like, I can have a thriving marriage, if you need that belief system, you have to create small victories in your marriage. Maxwell teaches us these things. Okay. And number 2, you have to surround yourself by other success. That is something you must do. You can't want a better marriage, but continually put yourself around a bunch of single women that have went through divorce. You can't do it. Let's be honest. You can't go to the bars. Like, that's not just not your time in your life anymore on Friday nights. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that the bars are a bad place, but if you're working on your marriage, going to surround yourself by people that are staying at the bars until late, that's not this time. And that's not where you're not surrounding yourself by success unless y'all are with your spouses. You see what I'm saying? And so whatever you're working, when it comes to this business, you need, and your coaches, if you're like, how do I get them to believe? It comes down to helping them create small victories, putting them in places that they can have small victories, giving them a day in the free challenge, giving them a day in the 5-day Shakeology challenge, giving them a shout out on their social media posts. You see what I'm saying? You have to help them have small victories, right? And you have to create your own as well. And then you have to surround them by success, right? And so you team up with other coaches in fitness, right? And you put them around other people that are succeeding. And they start to locate themselves in these other stories. The same for business. That's why you have to go to Summit. That's why you have to go to Super Saturday. That's why you can't be an island, because one part of the belief system, to believing in yourself in whatever area you're trying to believe in, is to surround yourself by other success, right? It's so key. So if you're continually sitting around people all the time, I'm not saying that you don't love them, but that's not all you stick around. You have to go outside of that sometimes and surround yourself. It's going to make you uncomfortable because you're not where they're at yet, right? Because you're not where they're at yet, but you have to go there. You have to surround yourself. This is why this is so powerful when Carrie switched her thinking, right? From being jealous, yes, but what do I have to do to be like that? And so see, like, okay, like I'm surrounded. I want their success. And she's getting surrounded. She's not running from it. She didn't stop going to Summit. She started running faster at it and being more involved to improve, to be around success, to see how successful people in Beachbody, how do they carry themselves at Summit? How do they care? Are they drunk as a skunk at the bar? No. You see what I'm saying? Right, guys? How do they carry themselves? How do they carry themselves around their teams? Right? You have to look at these kind of things. Anybody else got anything? I mean, I could keep going, but is Courtney on here? I don't know. I don't see them. Okay, I don't see them. So let's talk about a question so I can get you guys off here in 9 minutes. We wanted to talk about, I think you guys want to talk about, did Carrie have to jump off? No, there she is. Carrie, this is more your your jam than mine, but maximizing the comp plan. And like they were talking about on there, like your spouse on your weak leg, which of course you can, if your my spouse was on my strong leg, not because I thought that was better, but because I know. So and it worked out for me. I built the inside leg, and Chad like cycled like crazy, because what I figured out with what you can do with so what some of you guys are saying doing with a parent or something is putting them on your strong leg, right? And then you put all your PS coaches on the inside right here, right? And now as soon as that goes emerald, that volume starts cycling. But this is not my genius zone at all. This is more Carrie. So Carrie, do you have any thoughts on this? I haven't built my parents, or I didn't even, I put my dad there, but I didn't know to build him back then. So he quit and lost all that volume.
Oh gosh.
I know.
Yeah. So good news is I don't think there's one right way to do this. I had to learn how to build pretty quickly because I'm not on a team leg. So my spouse ended up being on what now is my strong leg, but that's created from my downline. I see benefits of both, of putting your spouse on your strong leg or your spouse on your weak leg. Now, if you are sitting in a position where you haven't placed your spouse yet, I would recommend placing them, because you're growing, placing them on your stronger leg, because you're not going to be adding a lot to that side, but you're going to be adding, see, like, this is where I get torn, because even as I'm saying that to myself, I say, okay, but if they put the spouse on their weaker leg, and then they could just put their second business center, because they're all going to have second business centers soon, on their spouse's weak leg. Like, there's not one really wrong way to do it. What you want to be doing is just be chasing that 2-to-1 ratio at most in all of your business centers that you control. And the easiest way to do that is just thinking about, is this smaller number within double of the other one? And it doesn't get any harder than that. That's the math behind all of our compensation plan. And we're lucky to have extra streams of income coming into our homes. Now, if you're going to build on your strong leg, you're, like Summer just said, you're going to have one coach on that stronger team leg for your spouse to be emerald, but that's it. Anytime you put over to your strong leg, you can be building your spouse's inside leg. Unless they start to cap at 250, then you need to run that spouse account to diamond as fast as you can to maximize the comp plan. If you have your spouse on your inside leg, which I think is great, you will start building your business center like you're building a 3-legged business center. So you would want your spouse's left and right leg to be as close to balance as possible, and you're going to be building them out just as you would your original business center, the outside legs.
Do you have a parent signed up, or do you do that, Carrie?
Yeah. So my sister is a coach, and she and I went to the same kindergarten through 8th grade school. So anytime we have mutual friends that want to do this and want to do the business, they go with her. We put most of our family members, family and cousins, with her. My dad is in her business center. My brother is in her business center. Then my mother has another business center. She has her own. She's on the opposite side. And the goal is to get her to diamond this year. She's in a pretty good place because my second and third business centers are over there with her. But if I had one do-over, and I say this all the time, if I had one do-over, and this is what you should be sharing with your team so passionately, you should be sharing that those 2 spots at the very top of their organization have to be people they absolutely love. They love them. They're not friends. They love them. They are spouses. They are parents. They are siblings. They are cousins. They are aunts. They are uncles. They love them, and they would do anything for them. You might have a girlfriend or whatever. I shouldn't say not friends, but someone that you're close to. the girl on the top of my business center is a friend since I was 6 years old. One of those people that I would say jump and she'd say how high, and I would do the same for her, like that kind of situation. I would give anything, well, maybe not anything, but I would give a lot to have that be either my mother or my sister. You need to be that strong and that passionate about those first two people that your coaches are signing to be people they care about. Spouse and parent is great. If you can do that from the get-go, I think that's the best choice you could ever make.
I got a question for you. When your mom and stuff starts making money, and is she helping you build, or you're building her? Or is it mainly you?
It's mainly me.
So does she keep the money and pay the taxes?
No, I don't. I don't keep the money. I don't keep the money for my sister, my dad, my brother.
And they pay their own taxes if they don't mind.
Correct.
Yeah. That's how I would do it. I was just wondering how y'all did it. Yeah, I know that's how Megan does it too, I think. With her dad, I think, or.
Yeah, and I want to be clear here. My mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, they all believe in Beachbody and Shakeology. And my dad was all excited that Carl called him last week, or 2 weeks ago. So they're all aware of what they're doing. And if Beachbody were to call them and say, do you have a coach business account? They would say yes. They know that they get a discount on their products because they have them. I want that to be very clear. But yeah, my mom at this current time has one coach under her. So that's a goal for this year, to get her to diamond. And I mean, a huge thing would be her building herself, because she has an incredible network. And we'll see how it goes. She committed to doing some PIO classes, so that's pretty cool. So.
Okay, people are asked, like people have parents nervous about taxes. What is your thoughts on that? How do you address that?
Well, if they're on Shakeology Home Direct, your parents are drinking it, right? They're going to write off all their Shakeology that they drink all year. Any fitness program that they have, you're going to give them an opportunity to write off any office supplies they purchase. They could literally write off a portion of their house as their office if they want to get into it. You could literally be making your parents more money.
I know.
So maybe sitting down with your own accountant to see, what you're potentially writing off. I obviously don't have any background in accounting, nor could I be able to say that, but it's a huge tax advantage.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's there's this book, if you guys haven't read it, by Sandy Botkin. It just slipped my mind. What's it called?
Lower your taxes.
Lower your taxes big time.
Mm-hmm.
It talks about in there how the best thing you can do for yourself is have one of these type of businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any other questions? Is there anything else you wanted to address, Carrie?
Consumable products are not off limit when they're written into your compensation plan in order to maximize your compensation. So you might want to educate your CPA, maybe ask around for some other coaches for some detailed information that they could share with you.
Listen, you guys, if your accountant does not have experience with at-home businesses, I'm going to go here. Some of you guys use your family, but I'm going to go here. I would not suggest it, because that comment right there, that CPA doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but they don't, because we have to be on Shakeology to stay active and maximize our comp plan and get Success Club points. So it's all written in there. So it's totally a write-off.
Wendy, you might want to send some questions to some other local leaders in Canada, because I guarantee you they're writing off their product.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't say that to be snotty, but I guarantee you they are. There's no way that they're not.
Gosh, that Carrie Goldman was so snotty.
Yeah, you guys have the wrong. I've talked to multiple. You have to find someone that has experience with at home. Literally, that is who their lineup is, at home business. And if you don't have one, I can suggest.
Yeah, you can do things like, I know some people cringe at writing off clothing, but if you brand your clothing, you can write it off. So if you brand your gifts to your coaches, you can write it off,
Yep.
There's all different things, and you learn more as you go, and I'm still learning this year. This was our best one yet.
Yeah, which is awesome. There really is. There really is so much you can do, especially if you get someone that is familiar. They'll just tell you all of the secrets. My accountant has some of the top Beachbody coaches. He works with all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, Carrie, do we have the same accountant?
No, I'm local.
Local. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anything else, guys? We good?
We have a secret. I know. I keep trying to get Lindsay Caterino to do a secret one with us.
Yeah.
A what?
A secret tax meeting webinar.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things that we're not really even supposed to advise on.
That's why I said you want to talk with somebody that knows, go in with your list of questions and shop around if it doesn't feel like a good fit.
Yeah, I just know that I'll talk to people sometimes. They're like, I paid this amount. And I'm like, I make a lot more than you do. And you just paid more in taxes than I did.
It depends on state too. And it depends on what the spouse is doing for work. So there's all different things that come into play.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And military has a whole other ball game to consider too. And there's a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, you guys, it's 9 o'clock. I want to let you go. I want to let you get some sleep. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for hanging out with us.
I think it's 10 o'clock, isn't it?
Or 10 o'clock. Sorry, it's on the wrong number.
That's right. See you guys.
Bye.